Hello friends, it's transfer deadline day at Ipswich Town and we've got used in recent times at least to exciting windows, very exciting deadline days. Mark Heath, Andy Warren here to break down the latest one for you. And Andy, before we get into the ins and outs and potential what might happen, I guess it's fair to say that this is not going to be one of the more eventful ones that we've got used to in recent times at least.
No, I don't think so. Obviously this squad has been completely rebuilt in over the last year and a half. That rebuild has happened. They did the business early this month that they said they wanted to do. And as such, I don't think they've left themselves an awful lot needing to be done on transfer deadline day. Mark Ashton's always said he doesn't want to do that, doesn't want to be doing business at that stage. And in all likelihood, they've avoided that. But Ipswich Town have means. They're able to spend. And if they really want to, they could. So we'll never say never.
Never say never. You're saying there's a chance. Right, we're going to talk about ins and outs, but let's start with something that's been happening today. Carl Edwards, a potential, I guess, out, given that he's not going to be a first-team starter as it stands. He's been linked with a move away today. Andy, can you bring us up to speed on that?
Yeah, a potential out, I guess, from other teams' perspective. There have been inquiries for him, approaches for him from multiple clubs, one of which is thought to be Hull City of the Championship, but there are others, not just them. But Ipswich Town have said no. I don't think it is a possible out. I think it's a continuation of a theme here. Kieran McKenna's happy with his squad. He said that many times over the month. Town don't have to move players on. This isn't like the days of past where it's one in, one out, that kind of thing. That isn't the case at Ipswich. Kyle Edwards has been making matchday squads for Ipswich. He played for them at the weekend. They don't have to move anybody on, and Kieran McKenna wants to keep him for the promotion push from this point on. So whatever other clubs may think, I don't think it is a potential out.
I mean, even if he's not a starter and he's not likely to start many games, he's very much an X factor, isn't he? Off that bench that Town have got.
Yeah, there's a lot of them. They've got a lot of strength, Ipswich, in a lot of positions. They've got two players, if not more, for every position. But they've already experienced this season. They know what can happen with one or two injuries in the wrong areas, all at the same time. That could happen. That could happen again easily, and the whole squad would look very, very different. So because they don't need to do this for financial reasons, they simply won't. So I think we get used to Ipswich having this strong group of players heading into the business end of the season.
Okay, well, let's just reflect on what has happened then so far, Andy, before we talk maybe more about what might happen as a surprise on deadline day. So Inns have signed 4 players: Massimo Luongo, George Hurst, Nathan Broadhead and Harry Clark. All of those targeted, all of those have been previously names we've talked about. Obviously, Luongo emerged that he was training with Town before the window even opened. When you look at those 4 names, those 4 positions they've filled, all strong, solid signings, aren't they?
Yeah. I don't think you could say now that there's a position in the team that they need to strengthen. That wasn't the case at the start of the month, though. Massimo Luongo is that midfield body that they needed, and he gave a really, really good performance off the bench against Burnley at the weekend, showing that he can cover a couple of positions in that midfield. Really good acquisition there. We know they needed a striker. We spoke for a couple of months about that, addressed it with George Hurst, and he's slowly but surely starting to show the real quality that Kieran McKenna, his coaches, Mark Ashton, clearly knew he had, because they trailed him for some time. They got that one done. Nathan Broadhead, we always thought another attacker was somebody that could be really useful. They've done that. He looks to be playing off the left side and attacking the box and making chances for teammates. That way, looks a good signing. And then Harry Clark on the right side of the defence, maybe not as pressing a need, but it certainly did feel like a bit of a need heading into the window. He's taken that position up a level and probably completed the set in terms of every position on the pitch having 2 really viable top-end starters available for it. So you can't grumble at Ipswich's transfer business so far. They've spent some money. They've shown ambition. All of those players were playing in the Championship on January the 1st at Championship clubs anyway. So can't really complain at that.
No, some very strong business indeed. Right, Andy, if there is to be a signing on deadline day, and we've said never say never, there might be a chance. What kind of scenario would you see that in? Would it be if there was suddenly someone that they've had their eye on incredibly becomes out of the blue available and they've got the wherewithal to do it?
Yeah, I think that exact scenario. I don't think Ipswich aren't in the business. They don't take themselves by surprise. They, as we know, the recruitment department has expanded significantly since the takeover. That's getting bigger and more sophisticated all the time. They know the players that are out there. They know the players that they think would make Ipswich better. And if one of those that they'd looked at for a while and were sure on became available or became available in a slightly different way to what they might have expected, they'd go for it. They'll have to bear some things in mind. There's the EFL squad quota at 22 senior players. They'd need to bear that in mind, that they have some flexibility within that, with given some players that are likely injured for the rest of the season. But if they really wanted to, they could go out and do it. It's difficult to say what position that might be. I think any signing they make for the first team on deadline day will feel like something extra rather than a need filled. But never say never. But I think it would. I think it's trending away from potentially that happening on deadline day.
Never say never, and that, I guess that is a good thing, isn't it? You don't want to be rushed into things on deadline day. Like Ashton says, he wants to. He's not lastminute.com. He very much wants to plan and get things in place and done early, which is what he's done, which is tremendous. Outs then, Andy. We've talked already about Carl Edwards. There have been 3 outs technically this window. All loans. Matt Penny's gone to Charlton. Obviously had been on loan at Motherwell. Elkan Baggett's gone to Cheltenham, had been on loan at Gillingham, and youngster Edwin Agbaje has gone to Yeovil down in the National League, battling against relegation, his first kind of taste of senior men's football. Are there any other ways that Town might make an exit? I guess the other one is Ghassan Hadmi, isn't it, today?
Yeah, he's the one that you'd put in focus there. Some complications with that, of course. He played for Burton before joining Town in August, so the only other English club he could go to is back to Burton. That has been publicly discussed by Burton. They've talked about the finances of that being too great for them, but they've sold their leading man already this month to Bolton at Adebayo. So whether that changes things for them, we'll have to wait. We'll have to wait and see. But I think from Ipswich's perspective, that's a decision they haven't made a final call on yet. That will all be in Ipswich's court, whether or not that happens. But it's difficult to see where football's going to come from for him. So in my mind, it makes a lot of sense if that could be done, playing at the same level as Ipswich for the rest of the season, the same level he was at to start the season, rather than scratching around for the odd minute here and there at Ipswich would serve his long-term progression much, much better. So we'll wait and see on that one, but that's the most likely out, I would say.
Okay, then all things being equal, we don't get an in, we don't get an out on deadline day. How would you look back at this window with those 4 signings, 3 gone out on loan, who were kind of on the fringes anyway and not really involved? How would you reflect on it, Andy, as a window for Town?
Yeah, if that does prove to be it, I would look at that as Ipswich delivering on what they said they would do. It's about quality in targeted key positions and doing it early, which they've done. All 4 of those players within the kind of the role they're going to be asked to play look like they're going to make it Ipswich stronger for the kind of 4 months of this serious promotion push, which we hope is what's to come. Yeah, it's looking good to me. If nothing else is done, I think you reflect quite happy on the work that they've done in January of 2023.
And when you look at that squad, Andy, you mentioned there the promotion push. It does look to be, at least until recently, it was a 3-horse race for that top 2. Derby and Bolton coming back into it now. When you look at Town's squad, though, I mean, that is a squad that is more than capable, isn't it, of getting into that top 2?
Should be. I think the other teams will feel that way as well about their squads, but Ipswich certainly is. They won't have it all their own way between now and the end of the season. There'll be bumps in the road. There'll be twists and turns in there. But but there needs to be a good level of ups rather than downs for Town over the next few months if they're going to catch up the little gap they've got to make up and make their way in. But the squad's looking good. They're well coached, strong in every area, and they look like they've got what it takes to make a real fist of this.
Okay, then there you go. There's your 10-minute deadline day preview. We're saying we're not expecting a great deal to happen, but the beauty of deadline day, of course, is you just never know. So follow all with us. Andy and Stu will be manning a live blog and bringing you everything that's happening at Town and around League One. Obviously, there's always interest in what happens elsewhere in the league as we gear up for this promotion push in the second half of the season. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave your comments below, and we'll catch you next time.